With the Captain Commando collab arriving to global, only one character stands out in the scene, which you may see more of, and they are Mack and Ginzu, and surprisingly not the other way around. And that's because of how much they stand out. They are probably the craziest assassin we've ever seen due to what the characters right now are capable of and just like what they have. Like for example, a revive. So they'll have a sure chance to even kill someone as annoying as Emir in a single round. If you want to know what I mean, let's go check out what they're capable of and I'll even show you guys how to build them. So with the talent, they get more attack and crit along with range. They start in rock mode where they have more damage, ignores guard when entering battle. After taking action, with each one block of mobility consumed in this turn, their mobility is increased by 1 all the way up to 5, which cannot be dispelled. If all mobility is consumed in this turn, they enter sprint mode. When initiating battle and failing to eliminate an enemy, they can attack again but cannot move. Otherwise, they go into walk mode. Both walk and sprint mode cannot exist at the same time, which ignore immunity and cannot be dispelled. He does get a bit more mobility from his 3C passive, so that just adds to more of their insane already mobility. What you may notice is only in his walk mode does he have ignore guard, which is why people tend to carry their guaranteed ignore guard skill, as his 3C doesn't have that as well. Also with this, he can act again for a total of 2 times, meaning that he can attack 3 times in a single round, which is why they're highly capable of killing Emir and Assaulta. The process is a tiny, maybe a little bit complicated to understand, so feel free to stick around for the showcase if you want to know what I'm talking about. The class types, you do kind of want to pick them very carefully. The left side is more offensive due to more skill, meaning that more crit chance, where in which his bond effect also gives that as well. The right side is a bit more defensive, just a tiny bit, while also having a bond effect that gives damage consistently. Both are fine in their own way, it's just that the left side you're more likely to get critical hits, so you can take advantage of the Crystal Stinger and Blazing Sun, whereas the right side, you're not really depending on that too much in exchange for consistency and damage. With this class Mastery Stones, I would honestly just go HP, attack, and skill for all of them. Armor you can do defense instead, and with the helmet you can do defense or magic defense instead of skill. I personally don't believe in the flat 5 skill that you get on the armor and headwear, so I just settle with defense and magic defense on them. Then with the Arena Stones, go with an offensive set. No question about that. His best soldiers include the Faceless just for damage. The Deck Gunners are really good against Flyer, and not only that, they're very powerful in certain maps where there's a lot of terrain because they have that defense ignored. The Firebrand Sniper is something that you will see a lot, and that's because they deal fixed damage after battle on the enemy, so it's really great to deal with revived enemies. And with how many there are, plus combine that with his passive, and multiple at the again, it's a deadly combo. The best weapon that you want has gotta be the Crystal Stinger for more crits plus defense ignore, making it one of the strongest weapons to use. The Star Restoring Impaler is your second best choice for defense down. Otherwise, I would recommend something like the Hydra Bow so that you take less damage before battle, or EMB, Extreme Magic Bow, for no melee penalty. For the armor, Last Rites is gotta be the obvious choice. Lots of damage res if at full HP. If you don't have that, then it falls in line to the Azure Legend, which gives you more defense if above 50% HP, but if below that, then magic defense instead, then Lizard Skin. Best helmet that you want will be the Night Owl for the 5% skill damage, and also AoE damage as well if you do choose to bring one. There is the King's Crown to provide a nearby ally more damage. Then some survivability options include the Flower that heals if below half your HP, or Snow Beanie for the defense. But assassins typically don't have the greatest survivability unless your name is Tiana, so you may want to choose something just more offensive and just annoying based, would be something like Doomsday for the heal block if within 2 blocks of the enemy, or Jormungandr Eye to lower their damage. And considering that he's going to be all the way at the enemy's side, literally right in front of them, it's possible. With the accessory, there's the Slayers, Judge, and Prisoners. I would honestly recommend going for a Judge Talisman to deal with someone like Emir, who is always going to be holy. Then you have the Planet Spirit as well for the accessory Disable or damage taken debuff in regular content. Maybe even Edge of Memories as well for the skill cooldown. Very nice to have a skill like Shadow Raider come up again for the guaranteed ignore guard effect. As with enchants, there's Breeze and even Clock. Now the reason that you want to run Clock is because by the time by his second attempt at acting again, His skills will be exhausted, and that's when he enters walk mode at best. So in that situation, if you still want to make good use of him, because in that situation he's most likely dead, he can finalize on a desperate kill. You also have the choice of Blazing Sun for kill power, if you really care about that. But here's the thing, his multiple antigons should be more than enough to not needing that. So you will see a lot of people run Clock or Breeze. The best enchant stat that you want is going to be mainly HP and attack. If you could also get crit for the accessory, that would be really huge. However, getting just attack is fine across the board for an assassin like them, due to the situation that they put themselves in. Because mainly with them, you're going to be trading kills. Alright, so hopefully you guys have an idea on how to build your Mack Ginzu. So now, let's go ahead and walk through the first awakening stage. Alright, so with this one, you're going to be up against Lolly Jessica, Elwyn, and then Bozo. Alright, so these are the skills I'm going to rock with. The passive one that you really want for the extra damage, the AoE to attack safely, plus you can move back if in sprint mode. Then you also have his unique 2C right here, because if in sprint mode, you also deal fixed damage. However, another thing that you can do is run 2 of his passive, so you can run this one right here, Slice and Dice, and then Backstab, which does fixed damage before battle, and it's a huge chunk too, while also running Double Trouble for another fixed damage. So you do 1 fixed damage before battle, and then 2 more after battle if they still live. Plus another one if you are running the Firebrand Sniper. You are able to attack from 3 blocks, so you will be able to outrange Lolly Jessica and Bozo. However, if you just want to do damage, then the Faceless or the Dead Gunner, but that means you have to play around the tiles. Alright, so I am running the AoE skill because I have a feeling that you guys might be carrying this just to attack pretty safely. And I'm here to show you guys the safest method. So we're not going to do anything reckless. We are just going to move our maximum block that we can move in order to build up the mobility. And while doing this, since we moved up the maximum mobility that we can do, we enter sprint mode. And so what this means is that you can AoE here, do your AoE right here, and because of that, because we're in sprint mode, we will be able to move back. So literally just go anywhere, just stay out of range. Look at that, we even maxed out our mobility. If you have her as low as I do right here, you can still attack from anywhere. You won't take any damage because Assassin's animations are incredibly fast. Well, I took a little bit of damage right there, but it's a lot less than I normally would have. Otherwise, I would just melee attack, or you can just simply wait for the AoE again to pop another one. Lolly Jessica should be moving back and forth because of her support skill, but it's also going to be scary because she builds up her range. If you are going to be waiting, just make sure that you are moving the maximum amount of mobility that you can to make sure that you're in sprint mode. And then Elwyn literally the same thing. If I still want to play it incredibly safe, I am going to wait for the AoE. This time I can play it very safe because Elwyn can probably move. He won't be able to catch up to us, unlike Lolly Jessica could. So we attack him and then just move back, same strategy. And then once we're ready to go, we're just simply going to attack him. Boom. And with the last one, I'm sure you guys know what the plan is. Literally do the same thing, but this time I'm in walk mode because I didn't move the max amount of mobility that I could. So we're just going to do that if I still want to play it extremely safe. Remember to do that if you are trying to do the same thing that I'm doing, because that is one of the methods in order to enter run mode. Another way is if you used up all your mobility while at the same time being able to single target attack them, but that does require positioning. So for the time being, if that's a bit too hard for you guys, just do what I'm doing. So in the sprint mode, so we are gonna AoE here, and then yeah, he'll live. Oh wow, he actually died. Okay, yeah, so yeah, if he lives, then literally the same thing. It's the same strategy over and over again. There was another method that I could do, which is multiple antigons, but this is one of the more safest method that you can do. Plus, it does require proper positioning, which is something that I'll get to in the showcase. But this is the safest that I can show you guys, especially if yours is not as strong as mine. Alright, into his 3C. The passive on it, when in sprint mode and when passing through defensive terrain, gets 2 blocks of mobility reduction mitigation. It's a single target skill that increases crit rate by 30%. If in walk mode you attack first, after battle, they get smoked for 1 turn, which disappears when hit by an AoE attack. So what this does, if there's allies within 1 ring of this, there's a 30% chance to make the enemy lose their target and become unable to attack, which is guaranteed in PvP. When successfully killing an enemy, the skill cooldown is reduced by 3. That's kind of ridiculous, but if you really think about it, if you were paying attention, this thing does not have a guaranteed ignore guard effect. So what does this mean? Well, it means that this is a skill that you want to use first, because if in walk mode, they always have that ignore guard. And after they attack, that's when they go into the sprint mode. And then we have another skill that does have a guaranteed ignore guard effect because their sprint mode doesn't. That's when you want to use if the enemies are still alive. And notice that this is just one turn. So yeah, just be really mindful of that. Alright, if you guys are curious, this is what their 3C animation looks like. Alright, so for this one, I normally don't show the second awakening stage unless they're very difficult to do, which in this one, not really exactly. I could give you guys some pointers and say like buff up your own Mack Ginzu, because if you are running the passive with an AoE, you can get some easy damage in. Let Captain Mack and Ellen do some body blocking, and Lolly Jessica is going to be your key to winning this. And also do highly take advantage of their fixed damage. It is very insane. Also make sure you are using the firebrand snipers. Very good stuff. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go jump right into the showcase. Alright, so here we are. Let's go have a rundown on his talents. They have more attack and crit rate along with range. They start in walk mode where damage increases and ignores guard. After taking action, for each one block of mobility consumed, their mobility is increased up to 5 times. If all mobility is consumed, they enter sprint mode, where initiating battle and failing to eliminate an enemy, they can attack again but cannot move. Otherwise, they go into walk mode, and these cannot coexist at the same time and ignore immunity and cannot be expelled. So at the start of every battle, you will begin in walk mode. However, you're barely going to even see this because you always want to move the max amount of mobility every time. So by using all your mobility, you will enter sprint mode. So now the icon is this like pinkish, purplish color, and you will always stay in the sprint mode as long as you move your max amount of block that you can do with this guys. So we used up all of our mobility again, and we're still in sprint mode, but now our mobility is stacked up to 5 times, which is the max amount of limit. However, if you don't use all your mobility, you will enter walk mode again. Again, it's a form that you barely see, because ideally, he wants to always maintain that sprint mode. Because 1, he gets 2 extra mobility from his 3C when passing through defensive terrains, which we will talk about in a minute, and 2, it's because of the multiple at-the-gets. And one more thing before I show that off, is that if you move less than the initial blocks that you have, so what I mean is that if you move, let's say 2 blocks while even having 5 stacks of mobility right there, if you do this, you will have 2 stacks of them. So just be very careful about that. I know moving around all of his mobility can be problematic because of positioning. It can be awkward at times, but what can you do? He has an insane amount of mobility. He should be covering a ton of maps. And now about his multiple at-the-gens. He can attack 3 times for a total of 2 at-the-gens. I was wrong about this for a little while for some reason, which is why I'm kind of glad that I play tested him a bit before doing this showcase. So the way how this multiple at-the-gen works is just make sure you use all your mobility. That's the key thing here. Use up all your mobility. Let's go ahead and attack Elwin. He's far away, so let's go ahead and do that. We can use skills or not, doesn't matter. Typically you're going to see Shadow Raid or the other one that ignores guard because they're guaranteed, especially because his sprint mode doesn't have it, only in his walk mode. And notice that we're still in sprint mode. And here we're going to attack again. Hopefully Elwin lives. Maybe, yeah, okay, yeah, so we got to act again right there because while in sprint mode, we attack and they still live, we get to act again, which happened the first time that we attacked. And because we had no mobility left, we go back into walk mode. And this right here is typically where you want to use this 3C because it has some good perks to it. It's something that you always want to save, and then I'll talk about it in a minute. I'm just showing you guys how the talent works. So there we go. So let's talk about one of his main key components, his passive. This thing is a huge deal because it just does fixed damage, and he also heals permits. Plus this guy has access to the firebrand sniper. So that's 2 fixed damage after battle, which you guys saw earlier when I was attacking Elwin. So yeah, you're gonna see this all the time, but we're just gonna jump straight into his unique 2C. It's a single target skill before battle applies shell meltdown to the enemy, plus received are converted into random debuffs. When the unit dies, applies the special biochemical corrosion effect for 2 turns at the current location. At the start of turn, it spreads 1 block around. If an enemy moves onto this terrain, they become afflicted with shell meltdown, and if he's in sprint mode, it does fixed damage before battle. Now this skill is pretty interesting, but at the same time, you're not really going to be bringing this, because it does not have ignore guard, and Mack Ginzu typically always going to be engaging in the sprint mode. So you're always going to be seeing people run skills like Shadow Raid or the other one that I'm forgetting the name of. I think it's the one where it steals buffs, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I think this one is pretty interesting. I like the idea, but execution wise, not really. Maybe if they have like no tank, you can maybe use it. But in a lot of situations, you're always gonna be facing people with tanks, so it's not a very good option. So yeah, we did that, and then we applied the Shell Meltdown debuff, which is permanent by the way. So Vargas does have Iron Fist, which should give him 3 buffs. Yeah, the guard range, attack buff, and then parry. So let's go ahead and end this turn, and let's see if it gets 3 debuffs. Now you're not gonna get the powerful ones. It should be just the weakening debuffs, like attack down, defense down, magic defense down, stuff like that. So yeah, there we go, and look at that, 3 weakening debuffs. And then if we go ahead and kill the enemy who is marked with that debuff, it should apply the special terrain, which is like a bunch of these yellow whatever that is. If you click on it, it'll tell you everything that his 2C already described. So right now it's just only 1, right? And then even Everett stands on it because he's pretty dumb. But every turn it grows by 1 block. So Leon got forced into it and Everett just stood on it earlier. And if we wait 1 more turn, oh, there we go, some debuffs right there. Pretty good, pretty nice. Thanks to, I was about to say Ice Melda, but it's just regular Melda. But on the second turn, after that gets applied, it spreads for a total of 2 blocks before it disappears. But if there were enemies who stood on it, you will always spread these around. So yeah, it's pretty annoying, but very easy to avoid. Maybe if you're a solo player and this happens to you, but like I said earlier, you're never gonna see people run this skill. Maybe some people will if there's no tank, but in a lot of situations, you're not going to. Plus, it can be easily avoided. And now onto his other 2C skill, which you guys may have saw me use earlier during the first awakening stage. It's an AoE that attacks 3 blocks wide and 5 blocks long, that increases crit rate and steals 1 buff. But in sprint mode, you can move 3 blocks afterwards. I really like it, but you don't really see people use it because you won't get any at the game benefits. Because Mack Ginzu has to be in battle, and typically what their game plan is to be able to take out 1 enemy. Ideally, the more annoying, tankier enemies. So yeah, it really makes me upset since I really enjoy AoEs. So lastly, let's talk about his 3C. The passive for it is the extra mobility that I was talking about, where in sprint mode, you get 2 blocks of mobility mitigation when passing through defensive terrain. It's a single target skill where your crit is increased by 30%. If in walk mode, you attack before the enemy, then after battle, you get applied with smoke for 1 turn, which disappears when hit by an AoE attack. It also has a command effect where allies within 1 ring has a 30% chance to make the enemies lose their target and become unable to attack them when entering battle. But in PvP, it is a 100%, which I'm really dumbfounded about it. When successfully killing an enemy, the skill cooldown is reduced by 3. So with all those in mind, let me show you how you really want to use this 3C, which I did show off when I was talking about the talent, but I'll show it again. Let's use up all of our mobility and let's go ahead and attack Egbert. He should be able to survive this. Yeah, so even with the fixed damage, he'll survive. And then we're gonna act again, but we're still in sprint mode, so as long as we don't kill anyone, we'll be able to act again for the final time. So attacking Egbert, we're guaranteed to kill him. So let's go ahead and attack Vargas. He'll live, and this adds extra damage to him, which is pretty nice. And then finally, we're in walk mode. This is a situation that you really want to be in with his 3C, because the 3C does not have any ignore guard, but his walk mode does. And if a tank is guarding, well, let's say like if Elwin was weak, I would go for him and kill him. It could be like an enemy that you really want to get rid of. But we're not going to be able to kill Elwin because we don't have any buffs on ourselves and Elwin is pretty healthy. So we're just going to kill Egbert here since he's weak. So there we go, we kill him, we got the cooldown, and then plus smoke. So we get hit by AoE, it disappears. Since we're in regular content, we just have a 30% chance of not getting hit, which all 4 of these guys can reach. So let's go ahead and our turn and let's see how this situation ends up for us. Yeah, so it looks like Imelda, wow, she even 1-shot, that's crazy. Alright, never mind. So yeah, smoke, regular content, you just gotta be really lucky. But let's go ahead and try again. So I was able to kill Egbert. Can we get the low chance? Right there. There we go. That's the effect I was looking for. And then Leon just stood there. Forgot what he was doing. And then we go ahead and move around. And we do end up losing it. That's because it's its own special terrain. It does trigger when you attack in battle. It's just whenever you enter battle. So if there's a mage, you have that low roll or guaranteed chance if you stand on it and then attack. So I can have Ashley move onto it and then she'll get affected by smoke or pop up into her buffs. And she too will get affected by this if we are lucky for them to not do anything right here. So we didn't get lucky on Leon, but with Elwin, we didn't get as lucky. So yeah, sad, really low chance, but it does happen time to time. It could save you, especially in PvP where it's 100%. So yeah, just make sure that you are using Mack Ginzu the right way for the maximum value. And I'll give you guys one more reminder. So, overall, these ninja guys are insane. Like why can't they do the things that they can do? Every single turn, they gotta have to use all their mobility to enter sprint mode, and you want to maintain that all the time so that they stay in that form. It will kinda mess up with positioning, but in theory, it shouldn't be all that bad since they can zone the entire map and be really oppressive on the big maps too. And you should be scared of them because they're more than likely to kill even the tankier characters. Maybe not tanks, definitely not tanks, but someone like Ymir, Isolde, and like Apotheosis, Eshian, even with their revive and being how tanky they are, Mack Ginzu kill power is insane. And why is that? Well, not only can they act again multiple times while being able to ignore guard, but also because they can do tons of fixed damage each and every time you attack with them. If they're fixed immune, it's kinda less worrying. I would say if they have their attack up, they should still pull off kills. It's just that the fixed damage makes it more than likely guaranteed. But if they're not buffed up, then they're most likely not. Maybe on the weaker enemies like, let's say, healer. Also, maybe if you know if they're not fixed immune, because those are a huge carry. And just make sure at the end of it all when you're attacking, save the 3C right before a kill. So when you first initiate attack, you can use a guard ignore skill like on Ymir. He's more likely going to survive, especially if he has a revive. If you can clock that skill back, and if you know that he's still going to live afterwards, you can use it again or maybe just attack someone else if that's not possible. Then on your final one, where you enter walk mode, if you get that far, you will have that ignore guard effect thanks to the walk mode, and that's where you want to finalize on a kill to ensure you get that skill cooldown because that smoke effect is very good. So yeah, make sure you do that. That's how you maximize their potential. Alright, so that was Mack Ginzu's showcase. They're surprisingly not bad to use. Nothing special with what they do in terms of attacking. They don't provide like any kind of debuffs. They're just very consistent at damaging, and that self-healing with this passive can come in handy. The only bad part is very similar to SP Sherry where the buffs easily falls off. That's the one and only annoying issue that they have. Overall, not too bad. In PvP, obviously really powerful. Tons of mobility to zone even the largest maps. A strong sure chance to kill the tankiest enemy, even if they have a revive with damage mitigation. It's pretty ridiculous, but I enjoy seeing characters like Ymir get wrecked by them because my god, he is so annoying. But these guys are just as annoying too. And I'm gonna say this for the last time, because it's very important. Make sure you guys are always using up all the mobility to ensure that modes will act again. It is very weird at times, positioning with them, but it is very important for them to land kills. That's what their entire game plan is. Pressure the opponents with their insane mobility, then go ahead and assassinate someone when they're ready. But that's all I got. If you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, want to see more, and feel free to let me know down in the comments how you guys feel about Mack Ginzu, or if there was anything that I may have missed. So yeah, thanks for watching. Your fellow Z.